Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahanau Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. And take a breath in and a breath out. Know that you have arrived in a moment. And gently flutter the eyes open. Good morning. Good to see you all. So many beautiful faces. So many beautiful souls. So today we are talking about being alive and thriving. What a concept. Such an amazing idea, thriving. You know, for some people, to thrive means to have enough money to pay their bills. That's thriving. For some people, it's to have a house, a home, a shelter of some sort, where they're safe from the storms, safe from the elements. For others, it's to fall in love and to feel that love wholly and fully. And for others, it's to have food, healthy food, you know, that helps the body to remain in a state of health and balance. And for some, to thrive is to be able to be present in this world at any point in time, no matter what is happening, and to not lose faith. Faith in yoga is called Shraddha. Say Shraddha.
Shraddha.
Shraddha. Isn't that a beautiful word? It's one of my favorite Sanskrit words, Shraddha. Its meaning is faith. That's as close as we can come to it in the English language. But really, when we say the word Shraddha, what we're saying is that we're present. We're present in the love. We're present in the compassion. We're present in faith. That there is goodness. That there is wholeness. And that this human journey means something. And it does. Every moment of it, without exception. To be in a moment or a minute or an hour or a week or a year or a lifetime with that understanding is to thrive. Truly. The biggest thrive. You know. And there's been so many talks done on what it is to thrive. And, you know, you have your empowerment speakers that talk about how to make $1 million fast and how to have someone fall in love with you and, you know, how to become a leader, how to take control at work, how to be a successful business person. And they're all kind of in the popular media, you know. We see these people talking like this popularly. What we don't see so much is how to thrive spiritually. How to thrive spiritually. It is there. All you have to do is go look up Swami so-and-so on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll find a talk or two. What those other talks often miss is that without a sense of spiritual thriving, the rest of it doesn't have the meaning that it could have. The rest of it doesn't meet its full potential. There's something typically missing. So let's just say that we go and listen to a speaker who says, you want to thrive? Here's how to make $1 million. I'm going to give you this model to follow. Do these things, and you'll thrive economically. But what he doesn't tell you, or what she doesn't tell you, is what that could mean to you. Yay, I got $1 million. That model actually worked. But I still don't feel fulfilled. Now there's something else missing. Now there's something else. And actually that $1 million is a little bit of a headache. It's a little bit of an irritation because I suddenly have friends that I didn't have before. I suddenly have concerns I didn't have before. I suddenly have fears I didn't think I had before. Where's the thriving in that? So the step that's missing in that type of an approach of materialism is what it could mean to you, what you can do with it. Yoga covers that. Yoga says, if money flows to you, it is a form of the goddess Lakshmi. She is the goddess of abundance. And so whatever flows to you abundantly is to be honored and used for service, in service of the greater human healing. When we are of service fearlessly and fully, we're thriving. That is absolutely a form of thriving, spiritually. And as Swami Shivananda and Swami Chidananda and Swami Adyatmanandaji have said, to spend, 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 and the divine will send, send, send. So if you're not afraid to give all you have to the healing of all beings everywhere, not just people, but all beings, if you're willing to devote yourself to that, then you will receive beyond your greatest imagination. Kind of the second component of that is that these empowerment speakers, and they're wonderful speakers and they have such great information, but they don't tell you necessarily what to do if the outcome of the process you have invested in is different than what you intended. Well, I followed this model to make $1 million, but I lost everything instead. What do you do with that? They don't talk about the element of surprise, of the unknown. They don't explain, typically speaking, that when you set an intention to acquire something, you have a few levels going on there. The first is, let's just say, I want $1 million. Okay. What do you want it for? I don't know, I just want to feel free. Okay. What kind of freedom? Well, I don't know. Maybe financial freedom. But really, in the deepness of our own spirit, there's another freedom that we're seeking, and that freedom is spiritual freedom. The freedom of the spirit to be exactly what it is. So the $1 million you receive might not be $1 million, which would further bind you. It could actually be full freedom by teaching you how to start over again. In which case you have now 1 million moments, 1 million minutes, 1 million days, 1 million new opportunities to embrace your freedom on yet another level. So sometimes we enter into a situation and the outcome is completely different than what we expected, but that doesn't mean it's without purpose, without meaning. Thriving is understanding that in every single moment, in every single outcome, in every single experience, there is meaning. It's just up to you what you're going to see. Will you spend the time being disappointed? Oh, it didn't work. I guess he was a fraud. It worked for him, Or will you look and say, well, this is different. This is not exactly what I had anticipated, but what can I do with it anyway? How can I take this and make it my wealth, my well-being? How can I take this and utilize it to uplift my own freedom and the freedom of others? So surprise, allowing the heart to be open to the element of the unexpected. And that requires that we have and cultivate a sense of fearlessness. Now, if you look at Ganesha, right here up on the stage, he's the elephant-headed deity in yoga. He is called oftentimes the remover of obstacles. And he very well may remove the obstacles, but sometimes he places a few as well. Yeah, well, it depends on what you need in a given moment. And sometimes he empowers you to figure out how to remove the obstacles yourself. Yeah. But the one thing that you'll notice here is that he is holding 2 mudras. He's actually holding more than that, but the 2 we're going to focus on are the left hand, which is palm face up, and he has what's called a ladu in his left hand. And the ladu is a divine little nutritious treat that is also symbolic of divine wisdom, of the nectar of the teachings. So he's got his palm face up on the left hand as a gesture of receiving and offering. That he will receive the teachings and he will offer the teachings. He will receive the love and he will offer the love. He will receive the obstacles and he will resolve the obstacles in that love. And then his right hand is in Abhaya Mudra. Now in his upper right hand, he is holding part of his tusk, which he broke off so that he could write the Mahabharata. But that's another story. Typically, when you look at many of the statues of the impressions of the divine, at least within yoga and Buddhism, they are holding this mudra, these mudras, Varada Mudra and Abhaya Mudra. And if we put it into a simple statement, it would be the following. My heart is open to receiving all that comes my way and to giving all I have fearlessly for the betterment of all beings everywhere. Lately, there's been a lot of workshops out there on mudras. Do this mudra for this, do that mudra for that, try this mudra for love, try this mudra for compassion. And they're all very valid. They're all very powerful. But when you look at the impressions of divinity, typically these will be the ones that you see. And that's an indication that these are really the only ones you need. Because if we can learn how to receive all that comes our way and how to give all that we are fearlessly, then we will have learned how to thrive. Does that make sense? Yeah, absolutely. The next thing that we can talk about is skill. You know, for those of you who were in class this morning, we had a little discussion about skill in your physical practice of yoga and how it requires us to slow down a little bit so that we can pay attention and become knowledgeable about what is actually happening, about what we're sitting with, about the condition of our body in the moment, the condition of our mind, the condition of our emotions, the condition of our digestion. You know, are we holding on to things constipated, or are we letting things flow in a more natural way? Skill. The skill to see with clarity what is and to recognize also what is not. So to see what is and to recognize what is not. As people, we tend to get very caught up in our stories. It's natural. We all do it, every single one of us. But if we are heavily, heavily invested in our own story, then we have no room, no space for the story of anybody else. And we literally cut ourselves off from compassion. We cut ourselves off from understanding. We love one and hate the other. We like one and dislike the other. We approve of one and disapprove of another. Skill would allow us to be present in any given moment and hold space for all others. Recognizing that we are all on a journey of discovery, of remembrance, that we are all seeking resiliency, that we are all seeking a way to experience thriving in this life, not just surviving, thriving. And if I inhibit you from thriving, then I am inhibiting myself. And the only way that I can empower you to thrive is to not harm you, is to not commit violence to you, is to not judge you as being less worthy or even more worthy, but to see you as an absolute equal in the spiritual realm, to see you as a being who can thrive, who can love, who can lift yourself up and all others around you, just through simple acts of kindness, through simple acts of presence. So this thought of equanimity and equality takes a level of skill. It takes practice. You thought that warrior 2 this morning was challenging? That ain't nothing. Try to sit in equanimity for that period of time and you will find some challenge. That's what that's practice for. The warrior 2, the reclined twist, all of it is practice for the greater equanimity. And some people hear the word equanimity and they say, well, that doesn't sound like thriving. It sounds kind of boring, actually. There's no drama there. There's not. But what there is love. What there is joy. What there is happiness. What there is a community that comes together. And when one cries, they all hold space. And when one hurts, they all console. We share that together. We're not afraid of what's being received or what's being given. We meet it all fearlessly together as a group. But it does require skill to be able to do that. It would be nice if we could just surrender into it and say, that's it, I'm good with that. But the reality is we're more good with it with some people and less good with it with other people. We're more good with it in some situations and much less good with it in other situations. What spirituality, thriving, is being good with it in all situations, with all people, and with all beings, everywhere, without exception. So this idea of being alive and thriving, we also need to have some type of a plan. Doesn't have to be a rigid plan, not a plan that includes, what to do every single minute of every single day. You've got to leave space for the creative flow, for what we call the Leela, the divine play, the divine drama of life, You got to leave space for the unexpected. But you also need to have your practices in place. And I've given you all a handout here today that has some of those listed out on there, some thoughts that you can have, some practices that you can put in place, some approaches that you can begin. Change your expectations, be open to surprises. Set small, reachable goals instead of these high, overarching, goals that the foundation hasn't quite been set for. Have a vision of those, but work on the foundation first. Identify obstacles and work with them. Don't avoid your obstacles. Your obstacles are there to teach you. Obstacles are there to teach us how to thrive. So embrace them. Oh, yeah? I meant to win $1 million, but I lost it instead? Okay, let's work with that. So how else am I wealthy? How else can I thrive if I lost the $1 million that I thought I was going to gain? Where else is the wealth that I'm overlooking in this moment? Make your health your number one priority. And this is so super important because if you're not healthy, you're suffering on a physical level. And suffering on a physical level will keep us from equanimity. It will not contribute to it. Suffering on a physical level, if my back is killing me, if my knee is killing me, then how can I have compassion for others? If I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm eating food that's not nutritious, if I'm having too much sugar in my diet and that's causing me to spike emotionally and physically, it's like high energy, no energy. High energy, no energy. That's what those 54 gram of sugar caramel lattes do to a person. That's why we all love them so much. Because they make us go up and then crash down. And there is no greater drama. There is no greater drama. Yeah, whoever created those knew that. They did. So maybe having fewer of those, fewer of those. But engaging in practices that keep us healthy. Of course, we're going to have changes happen to the body. This body is a biological vehicle. It's going to change over time. It's going to be healthy some days and maybe a cold or aging on others. It's just what it is. But the more that we treat our body with dignity, respect, and health, healthy choices, healthy food, healthy sleep, healthy mindset, no chemicals in your homes, get rid of your Roundup, send it back to Home Depot. The more that we surround ourselves with health, the healthier this body will be, the more resilient this body will be, the more resilient this mind will be, and the more empowered you become, no matter what biological changes are happening, to sit with equanimity anyway. In yoga, we say that the utmost practice is to die a good death. I know, that's like such a Debbie Downer, I'm sorry. But the utmost practice is to die a good death. What does that mean? It means that at the moment of passing, your mind is so absorbed in love, your heart is so surrendered to love, you are so at one with the divinity, with the cosmic consciousness that exists, that you surrender completely to that. And that whatever your chosen name for that is the last thing that you say or think. Some people say, oh, that's easy. I'll live the life I want to live. I'll engage in the drama I want to engage in. I'll commit whatever I commit, violence-wise, harmful-wise, and then at the last moment I'll just say, God, Devi, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whoever it happens to be. You got to giggle at that a little bit, right? Because you all know that in that last moment, that is not what you're thinking. What you're thinking is, I want to live. I want to live. Now why? Because we haven't cultivated the skill in this lifetime to be any other way in that moment. How we live our life will define how we depart it. So if we treat our body, our heart, our mind, our being, our spirit, and the spirit of all others with dignity, with honor, with grace, with respect, with nonviolence, with kindness, if we take care of each other, then that last moment will not be filled with regret, resentment, or fear. It will only be filled with love. We will have accumulated the skill necessary to move into the next stage. And life day in and day out is like that. That we take these day-to-day practices, day-to-day intentions, day-to-day awarenesses, and the more that we embrace them, the more resilient we become and the more we feel we're thriving, and then tomorrow becomes easier. Never mind tomorrow, the next minute becomes easier. The next hour becomes easier. The next argument becomes easier. The next person on the highway who gives you the finger, it becomes easier to not give it back. The next person who steals your parking space, it becomes easier to say, okay, you obviously need it more than I do. It's fine. There's another one right over there. The next kindness becomes easier. The next moment of thinking to yourself, wow, I could have really said that differently because maybe there was a little harm in that statement. That acknowledgement and willingness to change becomes easier. But if we're not practicing the whole way through, then it's a living hell. It's a living hell that we will consistently feel that we have failed yet again. And then we'll ask for $1 million out of desperation, not intention. And we'll receive whatever it is we're meant to. And we might not have a good idea of what to do with that. But if we have a practice in place day after day after day after day, then we'll know exactly what to do with it. no matter what it is. Because we will receive fearlessly. We will surrender fearlessly. We will live fearlessly. We will be fearless. In our love, in our compassion, and in our life, in our unity. It's a big, radical picture. It really is. But close your eyes for a second and visualize it. A world where all beings are free, where all beings are healthy, where all beings are happy, where all beings have equanimity, and where love is the abundance that we recognize first. And fluttering the eyes open. Swami Vishnudevananda of the Shivananda lineage, who started an ashram in the Bahamas and many other places too, he gave kind of like this 12-step path to experiencing yoga, which is what we're saying, that there's this overarching yoga, which is not the asana, it is not the pranayama, it is not the meditation, it is not the concentration, it is the unity, it's the thriving. That's what the overarching word yoga is, unity. And to be unified, you must be thriving. You must know you're thriving, know your own resiliency, your own abundance, and the abundance of all others. And he said that there's like 12 things to do, to empower that experience. And that's rest well, appropriately. Rest appropriately, eat appropriately, sleep appropriately, exercise appropriately, think appropriately, meditate appropriately, love appropriately. Have positive thinking, positive mindset, appropriately be devoted, serve others appropriately. All these virtues that every one of us know and that we can all improve upon. Every one of us can become more skillful at applying them. We say, well, I do serve. I serve my community already. And that's wonderful. But can you serve in every single moment? Well, that sounds like a lot. I might get tired. No. I give all and I receive all fearlessly. That's the key, fearlessly. I'm not afraid of getting tired. Every moment is of service. Why? Because in every moment I am choosing to not harm. In every moment I am choosing to be kind. In every moment I am choosing to love. In every moment I am choosing to unite. What greater service could there be? When you make that choice, all other things fall into place. And so you don't need to worry about being tired. You just need to be kind, be unified, be present, be served, and be serviced. Service, be the service. Yeah, that's it. Be the service. But in being the service, you also need to allow yourself to be served. So I'm sure there's a lot of caregivers in this room. And as caregivers, we have a tendency to say, I'll give, but I won't receive because I don't deserve. I haven't given enough yet to deserve. It feels weird somehow to deserve. It feels odd. It's easier to give. But that's greed. Do you see that? To give only is to be greedy, because you're denying another person's potential to be of service to you. Equanimity is to give and receive. To want it only one way is to be greedy. So next time someone says, "Can I get the door for you? Can I get you a cup of tea? Can I do something to support you?" Say yes. And if you don't know what it is, say, "Yes, but I don't know what it is right now. When I have it figured out, can I reach out to you?" So much nicer than no, right? Can I do something for you? No. You see the difference? Such a difference. Can I do something to support you? No. We giggle, but we've all been there, haven't we? And how does that sound compared to, "Can I do something to support you?" Yes. But I don't know what that is right now. It just kind of makes the heart a little softer. And in that softness, you thrive. You thrive in the gentleness. Because the fear can be alleviated. Because that's an honest statement. Yes, you can support me, but I don't know how. I just don't know how right now. And you can thrive in that honesty. You can thrive in that openness. But when you say, "No," there's no space there to thrive. There's no space there. It's just no. And when you choose the alternate answer, the yes, but maybe I just don't know how right now, you're giving someone else the opportunity to thrive also. Because maybe they've thought of something you haven't. Maybe their simple kindness will bring a peace to your heart that you didn't know was possible. So give, but also receive. Live a good life, an honest life, but a life that is honest compassionately. A life that just sees with clarity what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. What needs to be said and what doesn't need to be said. Serve others without preference. Don't shun people because they're different than you. That's not unity. That's separation. Swami Shivananda said, "Love all, serve all, harm none." Hard Rock Cafe borrowed that. Because it makes sense. Love all, serve all, harm none. And then just remember that you're part of something much greater than what you think you're part of. You're walking a path of individuality. We all are. You have a name, you have a life, you have a job, you have an experience that's yours, particularly. But we are all also walking this path together. So even in some moments you might feel alone, and in some moments the work you do has to be done solely. You're never really alone. Because we're all seeking the same answer, the same experience, the same resolution. We're all seeking the same thing. We're just all really confused about how to get there. But that's okay, because remembrance of the easiness of the path is part of it. Remembrance of the easiness of the path is part of it. That we have forgotten something, but that we can remember it again. And every time that we commit a kindness, that we commit a compassion, that we commit a goodness, is a remembrance that empowers us to remember even more. And the more we remember, the more we will feel like we are thriving, not just surviving. And the more that we see everything that comes our way as a tool to that remembrance, the more we'll thrive. Because then the little irritations in life aren't so irritating. We look and we see, oh, there's a piece of garbage on the ground. Why don't you pick that up? No, we say, oh, that's an opportunity for me to do something. We see a homeless person on the street and we don't think that person is a bum, unworthy. No, we say, oh, this is an opportunity for me to be kind, for me to support another being, you know. We see a mom who is upset with her kids in the middle of a store, and we, instead of saying, oh, she obviously doesn't know how to mother, we instead go over and say, how can I serve you right now? Can we sit down? Can I get you a cup of tea? You know, can we take time right now in the middle of the store, have all of us sit in a circle and breathe together? She'll look at you like you're nuts, but the kids will love it. They will love it. Can we be that, walking through the world? I think we can. But we need to hold this a little bit more often. Varada mudra and Abhaya mudra. A willingness within the heart to receive and to give fearlessly. And that's the key. That's the key. Any questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? No? Will you do it? Will you step up to the plate? The list I've given you, a few other things. Release one attachment every day. Don't do the big ones first, please. Yeah, the little ones, you know. So what little attachment could you let go of? Well, you can let go of your attachment to the word always. If you have a child and that child comes home from school and doesn't want to do their homework right away, and your response to that would be, you always have an excuse. Let go of that word always. Rephrase yourself and say, maybe inquire, why don't you want to do it now? Can you share that with me? And give the child an opportunity for self-expression. Let go of the attachment to have things done your way. That's a little attachment. Well, okay, maybe not. Maybe that is a big one. But you can do it a little bit at a time. Yeah? What other little attachments can we let go of? One day at a time. Maybe one little attachment would be to turn the heat up to 80 and the AC down to 30. So in the winter, when it's, 30, we turn the heat up to 80. And in the summer, when it's 80, we turn the AC down to 30. Maybe one little attachment that we can do would be to not do that, to just have it at a consistent temperature, if in fact we need to use it at all. Because consistency is equanimity, is it not? So the more we turn the heat up and the AC down, the less equanimity we'll experience, because it'll be something to frustrate us. Isn't that amazing? So simple. Next time that they make your latte incorrectly at Starbucks, perhaps just try something new. Instead of going back, giving it to them and wasting what was given to you. Unless, of course, there's a health reason, like sugar. Then, of course, gift it to someone. Don't just throw it away. Give it to someone. Let that be a service.
It would blow your mind what they waste at Starbucks.
Oh, I know.
I used to work there. It is unbelievable what they waste.
They do. They waste so much.
So much milk right down the drain. Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So much waste. Stop wasting. Attachment to waste, right? oh, this apple's ugly, it's obviously no good. No, the outside is bruised a little, but the inside is fine. Let go of that idea that the thing must be perfect. The perfection lies in the imperfection. The perfection lies in the love. What else do we have on here? Remind yourself all you are grateful for. Every day when you wake up, let that be the first thing you do. I'm grateful for waking up. I'm grateful for this breath. I'm grateful for this feeling of aliveness. I'm grateful for the people who surround me. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have breakfast, to have food, to have a roof over my head, to have a job, or to have unemployment, or to have whatever it is that a person has. I'm grateful for my obstacles. I'm grateful for the challenges as much as the part of it that's easy. I'm grateful. Have a technology-free hour or 4 every day. Or 4 is better. Yeah. Have some part of your day be without the phone, without the computer. Have a conversation with someone without checking your texts. Turn the ding off. That ding, oh my gosh. You ever wake up in the middle of the night because you heard the ding, but it didn't really happen? Oh, goodness. And then you got mad at it, and it didn't even happen. Be generous. Be generous with your time. Be generous with your love. Be generous with your forgiveness. Be generous with your patience. Be generous. Support others through kindness. Hold space for them. They're suffering too. We all are, without exception. Remember that. So that the next time that you see someone who's irate, stealing your parking space, cutting you off on the highway, slamming the door instead of holding it open, just remember they're suffering. Otherwise, they wouldn't be afraid of the moment that it takes to hold the door open or to take the spot next to that one. You know? Good. So we'll end there for today. We all have a lot of work to do now. Day in and day out. It's an ongoing path. You're not going to get it perfect today. And if you do, then it won't be perfect tomorrow. So don't be attached. Just keep doing it. Cultivate the skill to be the peace that you want to see in the world. That's what Gandhi meant. Don't spread it around. Just be it. Just be it. Be like the flu. Be a contagion for peace. Let's close the eyes on that one. Yeah. Take a nice breath in. Take a nice breath out. Tune in to the space within yourself where there are no hindrances to love, no hindrances to peace, no hindrances to joy, no hindrances. There is only a sense of thriving, only a sense of aliveness, spaciousness. And place the right hand on the heart and left hand on the belly. And together we'll lift our voices in one beautiful Om. Take a nice breath in. Om. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere find peace, love, light, and happiness. May all beings know their oneness. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Thank you all so much for being here today. So good to see each and every one of you. May you thrive in your aliveness. And may you allow all others around you to thrive also. May we never deny that experience of another. Namaste. So coming up next in here is